A group of adventurous friends enjoy rafting together. A young girl named Jessica cheers for her mother, Sarah. When the raft reaches the shore, Sarah's husband, Paul, helps her friend, Juno, out of the water. Meanwhile, their other friend, Beth, advises the family to return without them while she and Juno fix the raft. Back at the hotel, Sarah makes plans for Jessica's birthday party. Paul gets distracted while driving, and as soon as he looks away, their car crashes into another vehicle transporting metal pipes. At the hospital, Sarah dreams of Jessica blowing out the candles on a birthday cake. She wakes up in a panic, quickly gets up, and goes looking for her daughter in the hospital. The lights start to go out as a scared Sarah runs down the corridor until she collides with Beth. Sarah collapses in Beth's arms, discovering that her daughter and husband are dead. Juno watches them with tears in her eyes, mourning for her friend's family. A year later, Beth takes Sarah to the Appalachian Mountains in North Carolina. They arrive at a cabin where Juno meets them. The other friends, sisters Becca and Sam, and Juno's protege, Holly, welcome them to the cabin. Juno shows the group an old photo of her, Beth, and Sarah. Feeling nostalgic, Sarah tells them to love each day, a phrase her husband, Paul, used to say. At night, Holly and Sam share a cigarette. Holly complains about tourist cave systems and how she wants a real adventure. Juno catches them talking and promises Holly she won't disappoint them this time. The women spend the rest of the night drinking and playing around. Later, Sarah has trouble sleeping. She looks out the window, and a metal pipe crashes inside, hitting her in the head. She wakes up startled from her nightmare, still not over her grief. In the morning, Juno wakes the group after her run in the forest. The others are still hungover from the previous night but get ready for the adventure. Before leaving, they take a group photo in front of the cabin. When they arrive at their destination, they unload the equipment and prepare. Juno takes her book with the cave map and intentionally leaves it in the car. Juno leads the way, having checked the route the week before. On the way, they find crows devouring a deer carcass. Ignoring the gruesome sight, they continue the hike. They finally reach the spot, looking at a large cave entrance leading underground. The group descends into the cave. They stop to admire the incredible view. While exploring, Sarah finds a bloody handprint on the wall. A group of bats flies out of the cave, scaring them. Juno leads them through a small tunnel system. They reach a large opening where she spreads flares to light up the place. Sarah starts exploring alone again but feels something watching them. She looks around and finds another small passage but sees nothing else. The women take a break for lunch. Juno sees Sarah distracted and goes to talk to her, but Sarah dismisses her concern. Juno, with tears in her eyes, apologizes for not staying with her after the incident but assures her they are all there for Sarah now. Sarah accepts the apology and decides to explore alone again. Sarah finds the next passage, which seems tighter than the first. Holly volunteers to go first while the others wait for her to confirm there's an exit at the end. Holly struggles to crawl inside but keeps going until she reaches the end. The others follow, with Sarah going last. The other women make it through, leaving only Sarah and Beth in the passage. Sarah starts to panic due to the tight space. Beth checks on her, but Sarah is stuck and hyperventilating. Beth crawls back to her, using a joke to calm her down. Sarah finally manages to move, but the passage begins to collapse. Sarah and Beth rush out of the passage, leaving Sarah's rope bag behind. Unconscious, Sarah dreams again of Jessica and a birthday cake. She wakes up with all her friends coughing from the dust. With the passage blocked, the others are worried. Becca remembers the guide saying there were 3 exits from the cave and asks Juno to check the book. Juno confesses she left the book in the car, irritating Becca. Beth reassures them that they will be rescued since they registered the trip with Mountain Rescue. But Becca suspects Juno took them to a different cave than they declared. Juno justifies that they wanted a real adventure, so she took them to an unexplored cave system and wanted them to discover it. Annoyed, Juno says they need to move forward. They find another passage, but it ends in a cliff. Becca climbs and sets up a rope for the others to cross. She sees an old climbing anchor already placed and attaches her rope to it. Becca finally reaches the other side and helps her friends cross. Before crossing, Sarah asks Juno if what she did was for Sarah or for herself. Juno asserts that she wanted them all to rekindle their friendship by exploring this new cave system. With the rest of the group on the other side, Juno begins undoing the rope and anchors, being the only ones they have left after Sarah lost her rope bag. But Juno falls, and the rope slides through Becca's hand, causing a deep cut. The rope stops Juno's fall, allowing her to climb up. They check the old anchor in the rock. Juno says it's an outdated model, so it must have been left there years ago. Beth wonders if anyone ever made it out of the cave, but Juno disagrees. If someone had discovered and exited the cave, it would have been named already. Continuing their journey, they see cave paintings on the wall. Seeing a drawing of the mountain and the cave gives them hope that there's another exit. They move forward, unaware of a creature nearby. The group reaches a dead end. Juno lights her lighter, searching for a passage. The light flickers on a hole, confirming an open route there. Holly rushes in, eager to get out of the cave. She sees a lit area and thinks it's daylight. But she slips into a hole. Juno grabs her hand, but she slips. Holly falls and breaks her leg. The women carry Holly to a safe spot. While Sam tends to Holly's injury, Sarah hears giggling in the darkness and follows it. Further ahead, she finds an old helmet. Nearby, she notices movement and investigates, seeing a humanoid creature drinking water. Juno finds her, but the creature disappears. Juno thinks Sarah is hallucinating. Back with the group, Juno and Sarah argue about what she saw. Sarah describes seeing a man, thinking he could help them out. But the others don't believe her. The women continue searching for an exit. They climb a wall, reaching a chamber full of animal bones. Sarah uses Holly's infrared camera to see the area. Juno uses her lighter to find the right way, but there's no breeze to give a clue. Sam starts shouting for help. Sarah then turns to Beth and sees the creature behind her. The creature lunges at them, screaming. They watch the creature crawl on the walls before disappearing into the darkness. Desperate, they try to choose any path to escape the monster. They hear the crawler circling around, making them back away in fear. Sarah points to a tunnel, and they run into it. A crawler emerges and blocks Juno and Holly. Juno falls aside, and Holly tries to run, but the humanoid creature grabs her and bites her neck. Juno checks on Holly, but the crawler returns and pushes her back, trying to drag Holly's body away. Panicked, the other 4 women run from the scene. Sam and Becca escape into a tunnel. While Sarah continues forward, she falls into a pit and hits her head. Back in the chamber, Juno fights the crawler, refusing to let it take Holly. She grabs her climbing axe and attacks the creature's face. Another crawler attacks Juno from behind, allowing the first to take Holly. The creature tries to bite Juno, but she manages to stab it with her axe. Already in a frenzy, Juno senses something behind her and attacks with her axe, unfortunately hitting Beth in the neck. Beth falls and grabs Juno's necklace. Juno watches Beth struggle with her injuries but slowly backs away, guilty and scared. In the tunnel, Sam and Becca worry about the others. They continue, not noticing the crawler nearby. Sarah wakes up alone in the pit. She uses Holly's camera to see in the dark, finding human and animal bones everywhere. Hearing a scream, she hides behind some rocks. Still using Holly's camera, she waits for something to appear. She stifles a scream when Holly's body is thrown into the pit. More crawlers appear and start feeding on the body. Sam and Becca continue on their path, hearing distant screams. They look for another way, climbing rocks to hide, and Becca holds her sister protectively. Meanwhile, Sarah is disgusted by the scene in front of her. She gags, attracting the attention of a crawler. It approaches but gets distracted when Juno calls for Sarah. The crawlers leave, following Juno's voice. On the other side, Sam and Becca stay quiet while a creature crawls over them. The crawler can't see them and moves on. But Sam's watch starts beeping, drawing the creature's attention again. Sam throws the watch away, tricking the creature. The crawler investigates the watch but gets confused. Juno's voice reaches them, causing the crawler to chase after her. Finally alone, Sarah goes to Holly's body. She notices that the climbing axe was used as a splint for Holly's broken leg and takes it. She continues picking up valuable items from Holly, lamenting for her friend. Sarah finds a lamp nearby and pours the remaining gas onto torn pieces of Holly's clothes. She lights a torch, allowing her to see the area better. Sam and Becca continue on their path, and further ahead they separate when a crawler jumps on Becca. Becca tells Sam to run while she fights the creature. The crawler almost bites Becca on the neck during the struggle, but Juno throws her axe into its back, then breaks its neck, saving them. Sam reunites with them as Juno reveals that Holly was taken and Beth is gone, not mentioning that she accidentally stabbed the latter. Sam, after observing the crawler, suggests that the creatures are blind and use sound to hunt. Juno deduces that the creatures go to the surface to hunt animals and bring them back, so there must be another exit. Juno mentions the markings she saw from previous explorers that will lead them to the exit but insists they shouldn't leave without Sarah. Back in the pit, Sarah finds Beth among the mess. Sarah tries to move her but stops when Beth screams in pain. She tells Beth she will find Juno to help her, but Beth reveals that Juno left her there to bleed out. She warns Sarah not to trust Juno, but Sarah is more concerned with getting Beth out of there. Sarah tries to lift her again but slips, leaving Juno's necklace in Sarah's hand. Recognizing it as Juno's, Sarah realizes Beth is telling the truth. Beth says the necklace was Paul's, and Sarah refuses to believe it, but she sees the words "love each day" on the pendant, confirming it was her husband's. Screams alert them that the creatures are back. Sarah tries to lift Beth again, but Beth begs her friend to end her suffering. Sarah is devastated but, seeing Beth's pain, agrees. Sarah lifts a rock and drops it on Beth's head. Sarah is paralyzed, trying to process what she did when a young crawler grabs her from behind. She throws it away and stomps on it furiously. Nearby, she sees what appears to be the young crawler's mother. The creature screams, enraged at finding her child in that condition. Sarah flees but falls into a pool filled with blood and bones. The female crawler jumps on her, but Sarah fights back. Sarah grabs a broken fong and stabs the creature in the head, then climbs to retrieve her torch, but another crawler appears nearby. The creature climbs the rock, touching Sarah's head, but she remains still until it leaves. She grabs a bone and attacks the crawler from behind. Filled with fear and rage, Sarah lets out a scream that alerts Juno and the others. Thinking she is approaching, Juno whispers her name, ready to fight off any crawlers that might be pursuing Sarah. But Becca and Sam argue that it's too late to save her, urging Juno to run with them. Before following Becca and Sam, Juno hears movement. When she checks, hoping it's Sarah, she discovers it's a group of crawlers coming after them. Sam desperately searches for an exit but stops at a cliff. As she tries to cross, installing a rope for support, Juno and Becca find her. Suddenly, a crawler scratches her neck. Sam stabs the crawler in the chest, making it fall, but she also ends up dying. Becca cries for her sister's death, but another creature grabs her from behind and bites her stomach. Unable to save her, Juno jumps off the cliff and falls into the water. Underwater, she sees the crawler that Sam stabbed is still alive. It tries to attack her, but Juno drives the knife deeper into its chest, causing it to bleed to death. Juno surfaces and climbs the wall to the other side. She almost falls, but Sarah grabs her and pulls her to safety. Shocked by Sarah's bloody state, Juno is paralyzed. Seeing the whole situation, Sarah asks Juno about Becca and Beth. Juno confirms they are gone, claiming she saw Beth die. Knowing the truth, Sarah is enraged but tells Juno to keep moving. Together, they search for an exit through the corridors, but 3 crawlers block the way, and the women prepare for battle. A creature jumps on Juno, biting her. Another steals Sarah's torch and drags her by the leg. Sarah stabs it in the leg before attacking it. The 3rd crawler jumps on her back, but she throws it off. Sarah bites the 2nd crawler's ear before smashing its skull, and Juno bashes the head of another against the wall. The 3rd crawler attacks Juno, and she hits it with her axe. Now alone, Sarah faces Juno. She reveals Juno's necklace in her hand, making Juno realize that Sarah knows about the affair. Screams from the crawlers in the distance distract Juno, and Sarah seizes the opportunity to strike Juno's leg with the axe. Sarah escapes while Juno is left to fend for herself. Sarah hears Juno's screams in the distance and, distracted, falls and hits her head. Moments later, she wakes up, feeling the sunlight on her face. She crawls through a mound of animal bones and finally escapes the cave. Sarah emerges into the forest, taking deep breaths. She screams in fear, running until she finds her car. She finds the keys and, after starting the vehicle, drives down the dirt road until she reaches the highway. Finally safe, Sarah parks the car. She then begins to cry, mourning her friends and shaken by the terror she endured. A truck passes by, startling her. She vomits out the window, then looks at the passenger seat and sees Juno's ghost beside her. Sarah wakes up from the nightmare, realizing she is still in the cave. In front of her is Jessica with a birthday cake. Sarah looks lovingly at the vision of her daughter while the sound of the crawlers approaching can be heard.